Good morning, Year 3, and welcome to Thursday. It's Thursday the 10th of February, and I'm Mr. Parsons with your daily writing lesson. Well, this is actually the last of our writing lessons of this week, because tomorrow there is an inset day. I will be spending the time doing some training and the school will be closed, so we won't be setting any lessons for tomorrow, and that means you lead straight into half term. So today's Thursday is pretty much like your normal Friday. It's the last day for your learning this week. Let's recap on where we're up to. We are writing a non-chronological report to inform the new owners of bearded dragons all about the wild creatures. So today we are learning to write about bearded dragons in an organized paragraphs. Remember, we wrote one about appearance yesterday. You have 2 paragraphs to write today. This is because we need to write in paragraphs containing similar types of information to help the reader navigate and find the information they need. So your success criteria are the same as yesterday: writing in complete sentences, information is organized under subheadings, use of technical vocabulary, and I want a range of conjunctions again, please. Remember, this is our waggle, what a good one looks like. We've been using it in our reading all week as well, so that it contains all the features that we need. You'll need to have to hand the work you did on Tuesday, where you organized each of those research facts under the correct paragraph headings. So have that out, please. Remember, if you can't find your one, I provided it yesterday with your work, so you can have that instead. Quick recap on our coordinating conjunctions to make compound sentences. So and, but, so, or, they're the simple ones. Or if you want to be a little bit more adventurous, in our fanboys, we have for, and, nor, but, or, yet, and so. And if you join 2 sentences together with one of those conjunctions, it creates a compound sentence. Remember, that's the simplest way of joining 2 ideas together. So it's time for us to have a look at habitat. Find the sheet that you need. It has the habitat subheading already on there for you. Find your notes from previously and let's get started with our writing. So here are my notes. I've got the idea that they come from Australia. They're solitary. We've got the dry scrubland and woodland habitat, and we've got the fact that they need warm places because they're ectothermic. So we need to start talking about where they live in their habitat. And I think I'm going to start off by saying about scrubland and woodland habitat in Australia. So I think I would like to combine together these 2 ideas: Australia, dry scrubland, woodland habitat. So I'm going to start with the bearded dragon, and I'm going to talk about the bearded dragon prefers to live. I think I like that phrase, prefers to live in dry, or maybe chooses to live, or can be found in. That might be better. Prefers, I'm going to go back to that. So the bearded dragon prefers to live in dry scrubland or a woodland habitat in Australia. Capital letter. The bearded dragon, I said prefers, didn't I? Prefers to live in, looking at my notes again, dry scrubland or woodland. In Australia. Capital A for Australia. Let's pop a full stop at the end of that and see how it works. The bearded dragon prefers to live in dry scrubland or woodland in Australia. Yes, I think that's okay for an opening sentence. I have used or, but I'm not going to underline it because woodland in Australia is not a sentence. So if I'm talking about making compound sentences, woodland in Australia is not a sentence on its own. So although I've used or, I've not actually made a compound sentence there. The bearded dragon prefers to live in dry scrubland or woodland in Australia. I haven't put the idea of in the wild there because we have got the notion that these people who are reading this are just going to be having them as pets in their own homes. So I could add in the front here, in the wild. In wild, comma, then I need to get rid of that full stop, that capital letter. In the wild, the bearded dragon prefers to live in dry scrubland or woodland in Australia. Yes, I think that's better. Then I could go on to write about them being solitary, or actually it might be better to talk about being warm. So I could, my next sentence could be, they need to live in warm places. So it says here they live in warm places. They need to live in warm places as they are, or because they are, ectothermic. And you could go on to explain what ectothermic means. So I'm not going to write that whole paragraph now for you, but that's how I'd like to start mine. You can start yours however you choose. Once you've finished writing all about habitat, then we move on to diet and hunting. So we have a look at our notes again. Now we've got a long list here of lots of things that they eat. If I just highlight everything that they eat from all my notes, crickets, locusts, calciworms, whatever they are, small insects and arachnids known as spiders. So we've got quite a long list there, but it does fall into two groups, the animals and the plants. And we've got the omnivores here, which is plants and animals. So we do need to kind of almost have two parts to this paragraph, one about the animals they eat and one about the plants they eat. We've got the technical vocabulary of omnivorous or omnivores, and we've also got this opportunistic predator. Now, opportunistic predator, I think, is anything that eats an animal that happens to be nearby. So it doesn't necessarily go looking for a particular type of animal, but if there happens to be one nearby that it would like to eat, it goes for it and it eats it. So it takes the opportunity to predate or eat whatever happens to be there. So I think I'd like to start by talking about them being predators. So see, they are predators because they eat animals, but they are also omnivores because they eat plants too. So it kind of comes into both. So I'm not going to start this paragraph by saying bearded dragons because I started the previous two paragraphs by saying bearded dragons, and otherwise it gets a bit repetitive. So I'm going to talk about them being a lizard. This lizard is an opportunistic predator. Opportunistic, oh, I got it right. Opportunistic predator. Oh, my writing's going a bit everywhere here, isn't it? Let me get that in the right place. This lizard is an opportunistic predator and will eat any small insects or spiders which come close, and will eat any small insects or spiders which come close to it, close enough. So there, let's check this sentence back. I have used and there. Now let's check if that is a compound sentence. Do I have a complete sentence either side of the and? This lizard is an opportunistic predator. Is that a sentence? Yes. Let's see if the rest is a sentence. Will eat any small insects or spiders which come close enough. Well, if I put in the word it there and it will eat, then that does make it into a complete sentence. But I've removed it just because it flows better. But I still think that is a sentence in its own right if I have an it. So and is a coordinated conjunction, and that is a compound sentence. I have used or there, but spiders which come close enough is not a sentence in its own right. So or is having a different job in this sentence, but it's still great to use it. This lizard is an opportunistic predator and will eat any small insects or spiders which come close enough. I'll probably go on to say these include crickets, locusts, and calciworms. And I would probably then go on to say, however, they are omnivorous, as they also like to eat plants such as berries and green leaves. They use their sharp claws to dig for food. Something like that. That's probably how I think the rest of my paragraph will go, but it's up to you to decide how you like your paragraph to finish. Well, that's it. All you've got to do is write 2 paragraphs for me today. Send them through to us by 3:30 if possible, please. And we'll have a good look at those and send you some feedback. And then once you've finished all your other work for today, that's it. No work for Friday and no work for another week. Have a wonderful half-term break, and I can't wait to see some more work from you today and after the half-term holidays. Have a wonderful rest.